Welcome back, everyone. Today we will continue our journey through the Dungeons & Dragons 5th Edition Player's Handbook. Just a reminder, this video is geared towards new players and people who are just now wanting to get into Dungeons & Dragons but aren't sure where to start. Today, we'll be going over Chapter 1, the step-by-step character creation. The book uses an example character, but I will not be following that example character just because it's an example and it isn't really important to the actual information. First off, choosing a race. There's a lot of races to choose from, and as each new book comes out, there are additional races to choose from. Your race is not the typical daily race of skin color. While it can be, it extends to species. There are different species such as humans, elves, orcs, etc. Then you get to choose a class. This is where a lot of your features and proficiencies come in. This is where you get all your unique abilities for your class, for your character to use. Next, we've got level. Starting out, you have no experience. As you gain experience, you level up. Next, we've got hit points and hit die. This is determined by which class you choose. Your amount of hit points is determined by the size of your hit die. Each class has a different size dice for their hit die. You gain some hit die based on your level, and you can use them to restore health during a short rest. Next is a summary over ability scores. It tells you what it's used for and which classes it's most relevant for. It also tells you what races will give you boost to that ability in this book. First off, we've got strength, which is your natural athleticism and body power. It is important for the barbarian, fighter, and paladin, which that is an opinion because you can have, if you want to, a wizard that's super strong. That's all part of the game. If you want to be that creative and try it, go for it. More power to you. Dexterity. That's your physical agility, your reflexes, your balance, and your poise. It's recommended for monks, rangers, and rogues. Constitution. That measures your health, stamina, and vital force. This one is important for everyone. Constitution is the thing that keeps you alive. It keeps your heart beating, blood flowing through your veins. Intelligence. This is a mental acuity, information recall, and analytical skill. That's very important for wizards because that is what they use to cast their spells. Wisdom. Awareness, intuition, and insight. This is important for clerics and druids. That is what they use to cast their spells. Charisma. Confidence. Elegance. Leadership. Important for the bard, sorcerer, and warlock. Because, you guessed it, that's what they use to cast their spells. Charisma is also good for roleplay. It makes your character very good at talking to people. Moving on. proficiency bonus, which this is something that is general across all characters, no matter what class or race you are. And there's a chart a little further on. Determining ability scores. You've got the 6 ability scores that we just went over. Strength, dexterity, constitution, intelligence, wisdom, and charisma. There are a variety of ways to determine this. Most home games, the DM will allow you to roll 4d6, take the 3 highest number. In this case, I got 6, 6, 5, and 5. So I get rid of the lowest number, which is one of the 5s, and that would be a 17 for my first number. After doing this 6 times, you would then apply them to whatever score you choose. Some DMs prefer a little tougher game and will have you roll 3d6 and take whatever number you roll. If you go into Adventure League, which is the more official Dungeons and Dragons game, which is not homebrewed stuff, they have a standard array which contains 15, 14, 13, 12, 10, and 8, which you can apply to your scores. They also have a system known as point buy, which is right down here, and it shows you start with all your scores at 8, and you have 27 points, which you can then use to increase your skills. But if you use this method, you can not have a skill past 15 before adding your racial bonus. Then describing your character, exactly what it is, figure out who your character is, what are their background, do they have certain flaws? Character flaws are very important for roleplay. What are their ideas? What do they stand for? Stuff like that. Right up here we've got a quick little, another useful chart, which is for your ability scores. The way you determine what your modifier is for each ability score is you take the number, subtract 10, then divide by 2. This will leave you with a single digit number starting off, and it will either be positive or negative. When you perform a check that uses one of these skills, you add or sometimes subtract whatever modifier you have. Moving on. You've got your character's abilities, which come from your race, background, and class. Some of them you're more proficient in, some of them not so much. Choosing your equipment. Your equipment is all the stuff you have on you, including your gold, food, weapons, armor. All of this comes from your class and background. Your armor class, also referred to as AC. Armor class is AC. This is very important. It determines what can hit you and when you're trying to hit someone else. Your armor class is when an enemy is trying to attack you, they have to roll and add their modifiers and be equal to your number or higher to hit you. Weapons. We've got melee weapons, which you have to be within 5 feet of someone, unless it has the special reach property. And ranged weapons. Ranged weapons will have some sort of ranged number associated with it. It will have 2 numbers. A smaller number, which is based on how far you can shoot the weapon normally. Then a larger number that you can shoot up to that far. But if you are shooting someone beyond that small number, then you have disadvantage. Melee weapons use strength, except for certain weapons that have finesse property, which use dexterity instead. Ranged attacks are dexterity, unless it specifies otherwise. Beyond first level. This is where we get really important. That's where we go into all the detail about gaining level and experiences and trying to level up. You cannot exceed 20 on any of your 6 ability scores, unless something specifically says otherwise. Over here, we've got another nice chart that covers experience points that you need, what level you are at with that amount of experience, and the proficiency bonus that you have. If you're proficient in something, you get to add that number to it. This is universal, regardless of class and race and background. The next section that we will get into next week is beautiful races. That's right, everybody. We're gonna get racist. And that's it for this week. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment about an exciting adventure you've had, or maybe an exciting character idea you've got.